England, 1884. In the quiet market town of Shropshire, the Harlow family lived behind the ivy-covered walls of a handsome Georgian house. To neighbors, they were respectable, refined, the very image of Victorian decency. Dr. Edmund Harlow, a local physician, well liked by his patients. His three daughters, Clara, Beatrice, and Lillian, were the pride of the parish. But beneath the polished manners and Sunday smiles, something dark was brewing inside that house. A secret that began with an inheritance and ended in death. Harlow was a man of science, calm, precise, and proud. He had served the town for nearly 30 years, prescribing tonics and poultices to everyone from blacksmiths to baronets. But after his wife's sudden passing, something in him changed. He became withdrawn, secretive, obsessed with his own health. The neighbors whispered that he rarely left the house now, and that his daughters seldom smiled. The three women could not have been more different. Clara, the eldest, practical and severe, she ran the household. Beatrice, the middle child, beautiful and restless, desperate to leave the small town behind. And Lillian, the youngest, gentle, bookish, and devoted to her father. They were united by duty and divided by ambition. In the spring of 1884, a letter arrived from London. It was the will of Dr. Harlow's late brother, Thomas, a wealthy merchant who had died without children. The inheritance was vast, nearly £10,000, enough to change their lives forever. But there was a catch. The money was to be divided equally among the daughters, and only upon their father's death. That clause changed everything. Neighbors later said that was when the real sickness began in the Harlow home. The doctor became paranoid, convinced that someone was trying to hasten his end. He locked away his medicine chest, stopped eating food not prepared by his own hand, and began keeping notes, strange, rambling entries written late at night. The daughters denied it, of course. They said their father was simply ill, a little touched by grief. But behind closed doors, resentment festered like a wound that wouldn't heal. It started with Clara, pale skin, trembling hands, a faint metallic taste after tea. Then Beatrice, complaining of stomach cramps and dizziness. Then Lillian. All three fell sick within weeks. Dr. Harlow insisted on treating them himself. He mixed the powders, measured the drafts, recorded every symptom in neat, spidery handwriting. Neighbors said the house smelled faintly of bitter almonds, a scent few recognized then, but one we all know now. Arsenic. Still, no one dared question the doctor. He was, after all, a man of medicine. And who would suspect a father of harming his own flesh and blood? By midsummer, Beatrice could barely stand. Her fiancé, a young solicitor from London named Henry Cresswell, grew concerned and arrived unexpectedly. What he found shocked him. The once lively Beatrice was a ghost, frail, trembling, unable to eat. The doctor dismissed him coldly, saying she was delicate by nature and needed rest. But that night, Henry crept downstairs and found Dr. Harlow at his desk, grinding something into a powder. He later told police the smell was unmistakable, like bitter almonds, sharp and sweet. Within days, Beatrice was dead. Her sisters, though weak, survived. It was the local apothecary who finally raised the alarm. He had noticed that Dr. Harlow was purchasing unusually large quantities of arsenic, far more than any doctor would need. When the constable came to question him, the doctor was calm, even polite. He handed over his records, signed his name with a steady hand, and offered tea. The autopsy on Beatrice revealed clear traces of arsenic in her body. When confronted, Dr. Harlow denied everything. He claimed the poison had been accidentally ingested through contaminated wallpaper or rat's bait. But investigators found no such evidence. And then came the discovery that changed the case entirely. Hidden in the doctor's study was a second will. One he had written himself, unsigned, naming only Lillian, the youngest, as sole heir. Edmund Harlow became one of the most sensational in the Midlands. The courtroom overflowed with townsfolk who had once called him friend. The papers dubbed him the Poison Doctor of Shropshire. Witnesses described his strange behavior, the faint odor of almonds, the secretive notes, the obsessive control over his daughter's meals. When asked why he had written a second will, he said simply, "Because Lillian was the only one who stayed loyal." The jury deliberated for only 45 minutes. Guilty of murder by poisoning. He was sentenced to death by hanging. But the story didn't end there. On the morning of his execution, Dr. Harlow requested pen and paper. He wrote a single letter addressed to Lillian. When it was later opened, it read, "It was not I who poisoned you. It was she who brought the tea. Beware the kindness of the eldest." Investigators re-examined the evidence. Clara, the eldest daughter, had prepared the tea on the day Beatrice died. And though her father had mixed the medicine, it was she who served it. Some claim she had discovered his unsigned will, the one that cut her out, and decided to take her revenge. Others believe the doctor's mind had broken long before the truth could ever be known. In the end, Clara vanished from record. No grave, no marriage, no trace. Only Lillian's diary, found years later, offered one chilling line. "Father did not die alone. The truth stayed with us." The Harlow house was eventually sold, its rooms scrubbed clean and its garden replanted. But those who lived nearby said that for years afterward, on still summer nights, the faint scent of bitter almonds lingered in the air. The case remains one of Britain's most puzzling family tragedies, a tale of loyalty, greed, and the fine line between devotion and madness. 3 daughters, 1 inheritance, Brie, and a doctor with a deadly prescription. History remembers his name as the Poison Doctor. But perhaps the real poison was never in his bottles. It was in his home.